I thought to myself, my gosh, this is an incredible man. Art believes everyone can be great because everyone can serve, and to teach people the power of servant leadership. Art started in his own backyard by rebuilding the culture of the manufacturing company he bought in 2004, Datron World Communications. Art took Datron's traditional power-led model, turned it upside down, and together with his management team, he began to serve first. The result, a small international radio manufacturer grew from a $10 million company to a $200 million company in 6 years. He's fueled by his passion for servant leadership and the lessons learned from the implementation of Datron's culture shift. Art created the Servant Leadership Institute as a vehicle to share his knowledge and to teach others how to inspire and equip those they influence. At the company's heart is a foundational curriculum covering 45 hours of training for every employee in the organization. He's our opening keynote speaker. He'll reveal concepts and experiences of moving from severe adversity to becoming a significant organization committed to leading for the sake of others. He's going to demonstrate how you get results, and that's more important than the actual results themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and my privilege to introduce a man I think you're really going to enjoy. Put your hands together for your first keynote speaker, Mr. Art Barter.
Good morning, good morning.
God bless you, thank you.
You know, I have to say, when I first looked out and saw a big purple thing coming down the hallway in the back, I thought Barney had arrived. And I've never been introduced by Barney before.
I love you.
Yeah, no kidding. So didn't he do a great job?
Thanks, Art.
And give it up to him. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. How is everyone this morning? Doing great? Do you know how great a company you work for? Yes. Do you? I got some yeses down here. What about all those folks back here? What about the guy that was late? Oh no, we're not going to pick on him anymore, all right? Do you know what's on your card key? I didn't see it when I got here on Sunday. I saw it Monday morning. Anybody tell me what's on here? You're celebrating 25 years of what? Of stories. Of stories. Now, I'm a believer that stories is what transforms people. Because without stories, it's just talk. Because if you're not changing people's lives and creating stories, guess what? You're just talking. I'm taking this home with me. I hope I don't get charged for it. But if I do, I know the room was comped. They're paying for it, so you guys are going to pay for it anyway. All right? So I want to take you on a little story today. Is that all right? Can I do that with you today? You all received Farmer Abel. I was going to say the only thing you could do better with the card key is on the back side if you put Farmer Abel on it. But I mean, we probably have to do things differently to get that. Let's share Farmer Abel with you this morning. The pigs are running the farm. That's what Farmer Abel grumbled to himself and even at times bellowed out loud. This was the last thing any visitor might notice. After all, the pigs mostly laid in the shade doing nothing. So how could those lazy animals be running anything? The only initiative they demonstrated was during feeding time. Then they sprang from their mud, oinked and squealed feverishly, and loved every minute of it. Being fed by Farmer Abel was all they were interested in. Just give them their slop and they were happy. Because they were consumed by consuming. But their piggish behavior didn't remain with just them. No, this attitude, Farmer Abel believed, had begun to afflict all the animals on the farm. The pigs are running the farm, Farmer Abel bellowed as he went about his daily task. And everyone and everything on the farm started to believe it. The pigs are running the farm. They're great little animals. They look beautiful. They oink. They smell. But you know what? Got some people in our organizations that pull us down because all they're interested in is consuming. They're not interested in giving back. They're not interested in giving back. So today I'm going to share with you some stories about Farmer Abel. I'm going to intertwine some stories about my own transformation, of what I went through when I started the transformation process, and talk about the 9 behaviors that we follow at Datron and Servant Leadership Institute. Now, we believe it's about behavior. And I'd love you to walk away from today and change your verbiage when you say, let's walk the talk. Throw that out. I'm going to encourage you to behave your talk. Because walking is just one behavior. It's just one behavior. If you want to be a great servant leader, you have to behave everything the way you want to be. The pigs were running the farm. What is servant leadership? I'm going to share with you what we show here. Do we have, where is it? Right behind me. Okay. To inspire and equip those we influence. Now, we don't say those that report to you. We say those you influence. Because we believe everyone is a leader. How many parents do I have in the room? Have your children ever said anything that horrified you? And then in the next 30 minutes you realize that they got it from you? Come on, let's own up, right? We're authentic leaders, we're servant leaders. Yeah, I've been in that boat. I mean, where on earth did they learn that? They learned it from me. You influence people that watch you. They listen to what you say, what you don't say. They listen about what you do, where you go, how you walk, how you don't walk, because you're leaders. And you influence people that you don't even know. You influence people in your own properties that watch you, how you go about your business in your properties. And they're going to make a decision whether they come back to your property based on your behavior. Now, every now and then you got to let them win, right? Right? Oh man, I don't get any money back. I mean, I spent some money with Willie the other night. He won, I lost. All right, and I had a blast doing it. We had great people. Inspire and equip those we influence. How do you measure servant leadership? 2 simple measures. Do those you serve grow? Do they get better? Robert Greenleaf started servant leadership back in the 70s. Great writings. That's the one measure he says. I think the second measure is more important. The second measure is, are those we come in contact with that are less fortunate than we are they better off once they've come in contact with us? Are they better off? In San Diego, we have an Alpha Project nonprofit that helps men get back on their feet after they've been in jail, drugs, alcohol. They sell papers on the corner. The money they get from the papers they put in their account because they don't get to go to the next level in the program until they reach that level. So anything I give them to buy a paper goes into their account. I drive up in a brand new car, I reach for a couple quarters, when really what I should be doing is saying, hey, what's your name? Bob. Hey Bob, how you doing? I'd like a paper. Pull out whatever comes to my hand first. If it's a 10, 20, whatever it is, give it to Bob. So Bob, how are you doing in the program? He says, I'm doing well. You see the light at the end of the tunnel? Yep. He says, you want some change? I said, no, put it in your bank account. It takes 10 seconds. That life will fly for the next 3 to 4 weeks because someone said, what's your name, how you doing, and understood the program they're in. Are those less fortunate than us better off after they come in contact with us? Contact can be 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Doesn't have to be a long time. But are they better off after they come in contact with you? Why servant leadership? I'm going to share some data with you. First one is from a survey that Gallup does every year in the workplace. 51% of our employees are not engaged. 51% of the people in this room are having a hard time being fully engaged in their work. Why is that? Do we inspire them? Do we equip them? 6 of 10 don't feel inspired. Maybe they don't understand your purpose as a company. Maybe we as leaders haven't figured out what their gifts are, and we're asking them to do something that they're really not enjoying. Have you figured out what your employees' gifts are and letting them work in their gifts? I had a leader who was in purchasing. He was a firefighter, and when things got were running well, he got bored. We put him in facilities, because in facilities there's always a fire. Always a fire, right? Facilities people in the room? Got to do it right now. Always a fire. He is thriving in that environment because he loves to fight fires. Are they inspired? Secondly, 7 of 10 don't feel we as leaders are giving them what they need to do their job. Your company's reinvesting in you in training. That's great. What are you going to do with the folks that report to you? You're going to invest in them? I love leaders who say, my door is always open. And I say, tear the door off. That doesn't mean you're investing. Show me your calendar and see if your employees are scheduled in your time. Now you're investing in them. But don't tell me your door is always open, because then your employees have to do something to come get help. When we serve others, we go to them. We meet people where they are. We don't sit back and expect people to come to us. Now, in our country today, confidence level in institutions, I didn't give you all. This is another Gallup poll that's done every year. The highest confidence level we have in this country is military. The second is small business at 68. Third is organized labor, big business. I didn't give you all. These are just the ones that I thought would relate to you. Look who's last. Any surprise in Congress being last? Don't we vote these people in? Yet we don't have confidence in them. Can you imagine what would happen to Washington if we had servant leaders everywhere? That they were more concerned about serving others than themselves? I think they wouldn't need any microphones or cameras, because nobody would go in front of them. Our confidence level in institutions is going down. When I first started using this about 6-7 years ago, Congress was at 13%. And I shared it at a leadership conference like this. Someone yelled from the back, it was in California, says, "It's too high." That person was actually right. It's too high, because we don't have confidence in our leaders. What would happen if we treat everyone with dignity and respect first? What if we served people instead of the ideology? Now think about that for a minute. Because as servant leaders, we don't get to pick and choose who we serve. Who comes in front of us or comes through our doors into our properties, we serve them. We don't worry about the ideology behind it. Treat everyone with dignity and respect. What would happen in Washington if we treated everybody with dignity and respect? What would happen in your organization if you treated everyone with dignity and respect first and serve first? You guys are on a great track. A great track. Don't stop. Keep going, because there is so much there for your employees to feel great about. And it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. I believe this is something that we have to get across to leaders. Our employees come to work every day, and their personal lives come to work with them. There is so much stuff going on in this world, so many worries, information flowing so fast on the internet. It's our job as leaders to help them through the unfolding of their lives' events. People that go to college, people that have families, people that are active in the community, people who might be losing parents in that season of their life. Are you helping people through the unfolding of their lives' events, not just from 8 to 5? Because 8 to 5 is just a portion of their life. Now, ask them. You have to provide a heart to help them. But we have to create an environment that when we put out a hand to help, our employees feel safe enough to reach out to that hand and grab it. If we haven't created that environment in the company that's safe for people to say, I need help, guess what? They're not going to grab the hand. You can leave it out there all day long. It's about relationships. Relationships. They'll grab the hand when you have a relationship with them. You don't have to be best buds, but you should know their first name, maybe who their kids are. Do you have that environment where your employees will ask you to help them in the unfolding of life's events? You can only answer that question. It's only up to you. We're going to visit Farmer Abel. We're going to go through 9 behaviors that we've developed. We didn't develop our training with the 9 behaviors in place. What we found was the training we did develop, and it focuses on the first module on ourselves as leaders. Second module, it focuses on the team. Third module, it focuses on what do we do with it. But what we found were there were 9 behaviors where we saw the best transformation. Datron World, we sell radios in the international marketplace. 90% of our business is done outside the United States. Not here in the US, outside. So we deal in multiple cultures, multiple type of environments, mostly countries that don't have a lot of money. And that's difficult. But you know what? We're there to serve. I get asked, Art, how do you take servant leadership into your military organization? It's easy. I have leaders that we meet with in multiple organizations around the world, and their desire as leaders in the military is to do 2 things. Provide sovereignty for their nation and security for their citizens. And they want to do it with good communications and not with bullets. I'll help those folks. I'll help them do that. When Egypt was going through uprisings, they had to deploy tanks into the square. What never made it into the paper, and they're a customer of ours, our radios were on those tanks, what never made it into the paper was those bullets were rubber bullets because they didn't want to hurt anybody, even those that were uprising in their country. You won't see that in any newspaper anywhere. I love what they do because they don't want to hurt anyone. We want to save lives. In Zimbabwe, my first project with the company, I started there in '97. My job was to go find $15 million in funding so we can sell them radios. I asked the signals officer in the police, how can I help you? His name was Eric. And he said, it's simple. I have a leader that isn't well liked. I'm going to have demonstrations in my country. People who are going to demonstrate are my friends, and some are my family. I want to control those demonstrations with great communications and not with bullets. We did that. 7 years later, they told us a story. Associated Press wrote it in a paper that got published throughout the US. The elections that year were the least violent in the country's history. I took that article and told my folks, this is why we do what we do. We save lives. We save lives. Most of the generals we talk to, that I talk to personally, they want to save lives and protect their citizens. I love what they do. We started to implement servant leadership, and people around us started, what's going on at Datron? Because you're getting great results, you're helping a lot of people. Our purpose was to positively impact the lives of others today and in the future. We set aside 10% of our operating profit into a charitable fund every quarter. We have to have profits. You have to get results as a servant leader. People say servant leadership is soft. Give me a break. Have you ever tried to lead a group of leaders, their transformation from a different leadership belief to a new one, and get results at the same time? It's the most difficult thing I've done as a leader, because everybody in the room changes at a different pace. And we took the attitude, as long as we see change, we're going to continue to invest in people. Continue to invest in people. People wanted us to share what we know, so we created the Servant Leadership Institute. And we share what we know in implementing servant leadership. Couldn't find a training program in implementing. Found a lot of people who would teach us about servant leadership, but nobody who would help me as CEO get through the steps to see what it takes to make it happen. It's a big difference, a big difference. So we're going to take you through the 9 behaviors. First behavior is serve first. That's a mindset. We have to serve first. You're in the hospitality business, man, that's really important to you, to serve first. Farmer Abel on the farm, he had a hard time figuring that out. But in his transformation, he found out that the person that suffered the most in him being a power leader was his wife, Patience. Now, Patience's name is Patience for a reason, because they're usually standing by us day in and day out. Farmer Abel said, how can I serve Patience? It wasn't flowers, wasn't jewelry. He decided one night to do the dishes. But what went along with that is he also decided not to seek recognition for doing the dishes. Didn't seek recognition. He just did it out of his own heart. What's your motivation for serving? Is it for yourself or is it for others? Are you serving for the sake of others or you're serving just to get results for yourself? That's the first hump you've got to get over as a leader. It's an important one. Because patience, if he sought recognition, patience is going to say, where are you going to be tomorrow night? Because I'm going to have the same amount of dishes in the sink tomorrow night. Where are you going to be? I did my job for the next 3 months. That's good. For me, I had to realize that Lori, my wife, whose middle name is Patience, let that sink in for a minute. She witnessed my transformation on the front lines and going from a power leader in the family to a servant leader in the family. I discovered my wife loves to have coffee ready for her when she gets up in the morning. I get up first. I don't need to know why. I don't care why. All I know is she's happy when she has coffee. See, she's turned our house into a home. Without her, it wouldn't be a home. It would just be a house. She's raised our 2 kids while I was traveling the world. She took care of me while I was a power leader. Boy, can I serve her and give her to her? I fix a pot of coffee every morning, first thing. Forget the cat, forget me, I fix a pot of coffee. My team hears this story so much that they know Lori can go to about 10 houses in the county and get a fresh pot of coffee every morning because they've heard it so much. The story of serving first. Then you have to build trust. Farmer Abel has animals. You know, the pigs look kind of neat. They're pink, they look neat, people love them. But they're dirty. They lay in mud. You know, Juanita didn't make the trip. You see, I didn't treat her very well in the last conference I had. She says, I'm staying home. If you don't treat people well, guess what? They're going to stay away from you. Right? They're going to stay away from you. Farmer Abel's Juanita, in his story, is one of his trusted animals because he can go talk to her at any time. And what does she do as a chicken? Bounces up and down. Says yes to everything he says. There's no like this with a chicken. It's always like this. We have any people in our organization who always tell us yes and tell us what we think we want to hear? Or do you have people who can actually tell you what's wrong? Build that trust so they can tell you and give you feedback on what's going on in your organization. Because that's how your organization is going to get better. You have to build trust. For me, I had to build trust in my organization. I had to create a safe environment. Now, when I was a power leader, I could clear a conference room in less than 5 minutes with my attitude and my words. Less than 5 minutes. Because nobody was doing their job. And I was the type of leader who said, if you're not going to do your job, I'll go find somebody who will. Whoa, that's inspiring. That's equipping. I want to work for Art again. I had to build trust. I had to get people to talk to me and tell me what was going on in my organization. In 2004, when I bought Datron, I was under investigation with the Department of Justice. They thought I was bribing foreign officials to get business. They had 70 attorneys and accountants show up on our desk. We had to explain everything we did for the previous 5 years. Everything we did. We had security guards on our trash 24/7. We separated our trash for almost a year. Here's what we can throw out. Here's the paper. Because people thought we were throwing out evidence. At the end of the time, they came back and said, we found you innocent. We said, we told you it would. And they said the only reason we went through this is because the company that was trying to buy our corporate parent wanted a better price for the deal and saw a weakness in the valuation. They were willing to throw away the lives at Datron for a better price on the deal. Do you think I trusted them? No. I was general manager. I was the guy they were throwing under the bus to protect the price of the deal. So we started to build trust. I talked to people. I told them everything I knew about the business. I shared numbers with them. Told them everything. I lost one person during the investigation. One person. He left, and 3 years later he came back because our environment was better than where he was going. He came back. I had to build trust and communication with people because you can't do it without it. You can't do it without serve first, build trust. Next behavior. Oh, we're going to do an exercise. Servant leadership transformation. Everybody do this for me. Put your hands together. Clasp them together for me like this. Just put it natural. Open it up. Move over a notch and put it down. Clasp again. How does that feel? Weird? What else? Come on, this is a big room. Come on. Unnatural. It's weird. When you're transforming what you believe in leadership to something different and serving people, it's going to feel weird. Cross your arms, naturally. Now, cross them the other way. Almost impossible. Can't do it. One of my leaders yelled from the back, "It's wrong, Art!" Transforming into a different mindset feels just like this. You have to think about it. You have to be concentrated about it. You really do. Now, last exercise, take your fists and you feel the tension in your fist? We as leaders still have power. We still have power. You want to hold on to it as a power leader and feel this tension? Or do you want to give it away? How does it feel when you give it away? Feels good. It really feels good, doesn't it? Give your power away. Last exercise, org chart. Traditional org chart's got the CEO at the top, right? I don't have an org chart in my organization because I want people to go to whoever they need about anything at any time to get what they need to serve the customer. I don't want them to go through an org chart. Turn the org chart upside down. All the way, not just halfway, come on, all the way. You feel the tension in your arms? That's not natural. It feels weird. It feels different. As you transform your beliefs in leadership to a serve first, you're going to feel different. You're going to struggle to do this. You're going to want to hold on to your power instead of giving it away. And you're going to weigh, no, there's no way I'm doing this because now I really have to give it away because I'm putting it on a paper. That's what transforming yourself as a leader is all about. When you change your behaviors every day and you give your most closest direct reports permission to give you feedback on how you're doing in that safe environment, you're going to go, what am I doing here? I really don't like this because I really don't like hearing what I'm hearing. The next behavior is live your values. How many people know your values? How many can recite your values? What are your top 3 values in your life? What amazes me is we have to take people through exercises to determine their values. What's the top 3? Do you know the values in your organization? We've got 5. I'm going to talk about the first one, the last one. But in Farmer Abel, Juanita transformed Farmer Abel when he discovered one night he couldn't figure out what was going on his farm. Because, see, Farmer Abel was a power leader. Farmer Abel would go into chicken coop every day, and he had his little black book. He'd count up the eggs. He'd write down his black book how many eggs Juanita laid. Oops. You look at the previous day, I went, she didn't do the same. What's going on? Go back the next day, same thing. Juanita was the one he could go talk to, but she wasn't producing. But he was a power leader. He had his record that he was keeping about what was being done. And you see, he went from the chicken coop to Clarice the cow. Clarice the cow was having the same problem. She wasn't producing milk. Anybody know how cows produce? You should know how cows produce, right? They have to what? Eat. They have to chew. They have to swallow. What happens when Clarice decides that she has to chew and talk at the same time? And what took her 2 minutes to chew yesterday took her 20 minutes to chew today because she was upset with what was going on in the pig pen and the pigs were running the farm. Does that happen in our organizations where people are just talking and nothing gets done? Oh yeah, it does. Juanita is a trusted friend, and what Farmer Abel had to realize one night when he went in to see her, when he couldn't figure out, she wasn't doing too well. See, Farmer listened to Farmer Almanac. Farmer Almanac said, you need to keep your chickens caged so they can focus on producing. And when that didn't create results, another farmer down at the seed store said, no, 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 you need to turn the lights out in your chicken house so that they're caged and we keep them in the dark. Sound familiar? That wasn't producing results, and Farmer Abel finally said, what's wrong, Juanita? He found feathers at the bottom of the cage one night. She didn't look really well, and he says, you know what, I'm not living my life in the values I want to live. I'm listening to Farmer Almanac. I'm listening to the guy down at the store. Are you living who's inside of you? Or are you living what you think people want you to be? Do you know your values? Do you know your company values? Top value in our company is families come first. My values, I always relate them to getting on the freeway. California, you have to live your values getting on the freeway or you die. That's what it is. 8,000-pound vehicles going 70, 80 miles an hour, and everybody's in a rush. And if you don't live your values, you will die. So that's the best reminder for me in living your values. Our top value is our families come first. In my own transformation, I had to realize that I was keeping my family by the side. And I finally had to realize I needed to put them first. The people that you love the most in your life is the people you should serve first. And serve the best. And if you're putting them aside because of your work, I'm a testimony to tell you today that will only come back and create a life that you're not happy with. Because you're not going to find it in your work. The people that you love the most. Our last value is we don't compromise our values. We don't compromise. We had a situation in Egypt many years ago, 6, 7 years ago, where we were working on a $6 million program, and the customer wanted us to sign a document that that said we were something we weren't. My team called me up and said, what do you want to do? I said, pack up your bags, come home. We're not going to do that. We're not going to violate our values to get business. 7 years later, the same customer came to us and asked us to be a prime on a contract. First contract was $8 million. They're going to install brand new radios throughout all the embassies in the world. Going to be worth probably $40, $50 million. They came back to us because they knew we were serious about our values, that they could trust us. They actually told us, we know that you're not the best person, best company to do this job, but we trust you. When your customers trust you, that's when you're going to have return customers. Live your values. The next behavior, listen to understand. Farmer Abel has a daughter, Sunny, teenager, drives cars. Read the book to find out. She's also in theater and drama. She has performances coming up. Her dad hasn't been involved in school. Asked Dad, will you come? He's going through his transformation to really figure out that he needs to do something different. So he goes down and he buys tickets. Goes back to Sonny and says, I'm going to come to your performance. And Sonny says, which one, Dad? Which one? He said, I'm going to come to all of them because I want to see every one of them. I need to make up for lost time. Do you think that made a difference in her life? Man, it did. Big time. My listen to understand, when we first got started with servant leadership, we did a survey. And one of them, the characteristics was listening. And I got rated. People in leadership positions, you have to participate in these surveys as well. You have to participate. So I opened up my surveys one night on Friday and found out the survey was wrong. We didn't ask the questions right. One of my lowest rankings was in listening. And I thought I was a good listener. I thought I was a great listener. So I wasn't real happy that night. I'm going to have to redo the survey. We're going to have to do it all over again. I went home. Lori's fixing dinner. She could tell I wasn't very happy. She said, what's going on? I said, I got the survey back and we're going to have to redo it because the questions weren't asked the right way. My folks didn't understand what they were being asked. She said, what did you learn? I said, I learned I wasn't a good listener. She didn't even look up from the counter. She kept her head down and said, "Tell me something I don't already know." I wanted sympathy. And what I got was confirmation that I wasn't a good listener. Listen to understand. Just don't listen. Turn your devices off. Turn your computers off. You can survive with your phones off for 10, 15 minutes. I left on this trip, I left my phone in the charger. It was hell the first day. Till I got on the internet in the hotel room. Now I'm back in business. But you know what? I don't miss it. I'm not sure I'm going to take it out of the charger when I get back. I love it. It's pretty cool. And the world is still going on. My company's still going on. Listen to understand. Listening is a form of love. I researched listening and found out that if I really cared about people, I would listen to them. So if you want to really show people you care, sit down, pay attention, take the zipper that's on your lip and zip it this way closed, and don't say a thing. Don't debate. Most of us have what we're going to say in our head before the other person's done talking. Ask these two questions. Tell me more and help me understand. And that was a form of love of telling people, I want to hear what you have to say. Tell me more and help me understand. Now we're going to find out how good of listeners you are. What I'd like you to do is pair up with another individual. One individual is going to describe a shape. The other individual is going to draw that shape. You cannot tell them what the shape is. So you're going to do something like this. I want you to start 3 inches down from the top. I want you to start 2 inches from the right-hand side. I want you to draw a line 5 inches long. And then describe the next thing you want them to draw. So one person is talking while the other person is listening. Now you're in a big room, you're going to hear a lot of chatter. Can you focus on listening while you're doing this? So match up with someone. I'll give you about 5 minutes to do this exercise. One person tells them what to draw, the other person draws it. All right? All right, finish it up. Let me have your attention back here. Come on back to the front. Come on back. I'm going to ask you a question. I need attention. There may be something at the end of this contest. You never know what comes out at the end. How many people got the image right? All right. Does anybody have a really difficult image that they had to draw? Or was it like a circle? What was the most difficult image that you had to draw that got it right? Out of the people that got it right? Cylinder. What else? Oh, what was it? Chicken? Juanita. You're listening to understand, aren't you? Yep. Stand up for a second. Where's the next one? What's there? Any other shapes better than a chicken? Sailboat. Okay. That's good. Have the sailboat stand up. Anybody else? A star. All right, we have 4 people who are courageous enough to stand up and tell what it is. And the 4th person, stand up for a second. You 4 people get a free pass to our conference next year. Assuming that you get permission from your boss. And you can't go to your boss and say, Art said I'm going, so I'm going. All right? You got to practice your values. So if you guys can come next year, 4 people, make sure you get a name to Robin or Lisa, and you guys will be our guest at the conference next year, okay? Thank you very much for listening. All right. Think about your thinking. One of the things Farmer Able does is he goes into the barn where Clarice is laying eggs. Now, just ignore the little horns here we got because, you know, cows don't have horns, but do they have? Okay, good. Now I'll let them up. Okay, good. I'm just checking to see if you guys are paying attention. Clarice leaves the barn and goes out to the meadow every day. What does she have to walk by? The pig pen. She has to walk by the chicken coop. Everybody sees Clarice chewing, but she doesn't have anything in her mouth because she hasn't made it to the meadow yet. What's Clarice upset about? Everybody on the farm sees it. She gets out to the meadow, and guess who's out there? Harry, the horse. Harry, the horse, has been with Farmer Abel for a long time. And Farmer Abel decides that he needs a little new blood to help Harry get along a little bit. So he goes down and buys a nice young colt and puts them together, bridles them together, and guess what? He automatically assumes that everything that Harry knows he's going to pass on to this new young horse. The young horse wants to go over here. They want to go over here. We're going to do this. And Harry's going, where are you going? I know I'm going to go down that path right there. And it's going to take me the same amount today that it took me yesterday. Don't give me all this energy. Don't give me all this stuff that you want to go fix. Right? And they learned that because we wanted to serve. We brought in young people in our organizations. And guess what? It's not working. Farmer Abel's has a shed he goes to. Normally he goes right past the dinner table, picks up his dinner, goes to his office, which is a little shed out back, sets it down. And this night he said, I don't know why we're not producing. Why aren't we producing? And he starts to sit back and listen. He's not hungry. Plate's over here. Little knot in the wall. The wind starts coming up and he starts hearing this noise through the hole. And all of a sudden he thinks he hears, it's not about me. It's not about me. Now, he wouldn't have heard that if he was so involved in writing down the numbers for the day. He had to take time to think about his thinking. He said, the wind's talking to me, this is crazy. He looks over at his dinner and finds the dinner plate has ants on it. And the ants are all in a line. They're just working to get food. They're going back and forth. He picks it up, takes it over here, sets it down there, goes back to thinking about the wind, thinking about what's going on his farm. He hears the wind again. It's not about you. It's not about you. He looks down again. The ants have found the plate over here. He goes, man, they found it fast. They're all in the line. They're working together. They are doing things together as a team. He says, that can't continue. I want to pick it up and put it over here. A minute later, ants found that, and they're still working as a team. He's going, I need to listen to this thing that it's not about me. I need to get my team to perform like the ants perform. Everybody's working together. Everybody knows their job. Everybody's getting food and taking it back. Going back and forth in the same line, not in different lines. I need to do something different. Farmer Abel would not have been able to do that if he wasn't thinking about his thinking. For me, it's all about the windshields and cars. I spend more time thinking about my thinking today than I ever did as a leader. It's called reflection. Because if I don't listen to what people are telling me, and I don't want to change my behavior, I need to think about that. I need to think about the bad things that people told me and the good things. The people that are closest to you, that you love the most, have the courage to go ask them how you are as a leader, and then listen to them. Rearview mirror in a car is a rearview mirror for a reason. It's small because it's more important about where you're going than where you've been. Focus on where you're going. Don't let the things of the past drag you down. Let them go. Let them go. Because where you're going is more important. Spend time thinking about your thinking. I will challenge you, when you get back to your office, take 15 minutes sometime in the next week, close everything off, your phone. I can teach you how to turn your phones off if you don't know how to turn them off. I'm not talking about vibrate now. I'm talking about turning them off, your computer off, and think about who you are and what you want to be, and spend time with that. The next behavior is add value. Farmer Abel's wife, Patience, she's there, she wants to help. Farmer Abel, he's going to talk to a chicken when his wife is waiting there to help him. You have people around you that love you, that are just dying to have you ask them, give me your thoughts. Tell me what they are. They want to add value to you. They want to add value. Farmer Abel discovered he needed to add value to his family first, not his farm animals. Are you adding value to your family? Are you? That's the most important relationships you have, is your family. I heard stories about new grandkids coming this year. Man, great plans to spend time with the grandkids. It's a lot of fun to hear that. Spend time with family. For me, adding values, my front door to my company reminds me every day to add values to someone. I usually will put a name to it. Now, people will bust me about this because, Art, that's your company. It's not your house. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I have my 2 children and my wife, Lori. They all work in the company. I get to see my kids grow up in the working world right in front of me. And man, it is a blessing. I never thought I would get to see that when I bought the company. I wasn't expecting it. If you get a chance to have your kids work in the company, man, take advantage of it, because you're going to see them grow in ways that you never thought possible. Never thought possible. Demonstrate courage is the next one. On the farm, Farmer Abel went down to a neighbor that was going out of business, and he had a dog, Sparky. Now, Sparky was really, really nice. He would run to you. His tail would be wagging like this. He'd be looking with his tongue hanging out. And Farmer Abel fell in love with him. He looked really neat. A lot of energy, a lot of stuff. And guess what? He took Sparky back to the farm. Sparky was a sheep herder. He would take animals out to the meadow and bring them back at the end of the day. And Farmer Abel thought he would do a great job, save some time. What he didn't expect was when Farmer Abel wasn't around, Sparky started biting at the animal's hoofs and was drawing blood. Sparky was not the same dog that Farmer Abel saw when he brought him on the farm. He had to sneak around and watch him from behind the barn, and found out that he was nipping, biting all the animals as he brought them in. He says, Sparky doesn't live by my values. Doesn't live by my values. So I need to get rid of him. I need to share him maybe with my competition. Maybe you have some people in your organization that maybe it'd be better to share them with your competition. I learned that from Ken Blanchard, by the way. Sparky doesn't have any place on the farm, and he had to have courage to do and make a decision about Sparky. I had the same thing. I brought a new CEO in, thought he was great, had a great servant's heart, but I found out he wasn't ready to leave the power model. He'd been trained in the corporate world too long, so I had problems with him. What I decided was I needed to let him go because he wasn't fitting into the servant leadership culture. You're going to have those challenges. Servant leadership cultures aren't for everybody. They're not. And some people won't survive. And that's okay, because it's our job to help identify that and then help them find a job where they'll be happy. I kept my guy on for 6 months, tried to help him find a job that he would be happy in, which meant going back to work for a large corporation, where he's thriving today. That's the best thing I could have done for him. But I had to have the courage to do that. How many people feel they have courage in the room? Leaders. Got a few hands. Can we find out how much courage you have? All right, you ready to have a little fun? All right. Now, I want you, when you recognize this music, because music goes along with leadership, it pulls us together. I want to see how much courage you have as a leader to just lay down all the stuff that you're concerned about, how people view you, and just do crazy things. See if you recognize this song. Anybody? All right. What is it? Okay. Anybody going to come up and show us how to do the YMCA? Except, listen to understand, I want MLCV up here. Do I get some people down here? Who has courage to come down here and show us how to do this? Come on, come on. Up. Come on up on the stage. Yeah, come on up here. You ready? Let's go. Oh, come on. You guys have courage or not? You guys right there going like this, going, I don't want any part of this. You got some courage people. Are you going to be with them? I got a big group back there. Can we at least clap with them? All right, cut it off, cut it off. All right, give me some high fives here. Give me some high fives. Courage, courage, yeah, courage, 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 yeah. Courage, 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 courage. Now, these are your courageous leaders in the company. They don't care what you think. They really don't. Don't we as leaders need to show our heart more and show what really makes us tick? Isn't that what we need to do when we have to demonstrate courage? They did it with their hearts. Did you see the smiles up here? Look at the smiles. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Come on, big hand for the courageous leaders in your organization. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Increase your influence. Once you have decided to serve first, build trust, live your values, listen to understand, add value to people, be courageous, you're going to have a chance to influence people. I will tell you, I sat in the lobby yesterday and watched people come in to your property here. I will tell you that I saw just as many smiles going out that I saw coming in. That's pretty good for a casino. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, give yourself a hand. What I liked is I saw an older gentleman with his wife come in. He's in shorts, got the socks up to the knees. You know what I'm talking about? Some had white socks, some had black. But you know what? They said, hey, there's John over there. Hey, Bob's over there. They were meeting friends here to have a good time. Do you know what that does to people's lives? You're influencing people just by what you do. You're providing an environment where they can have fun. They can have fun. Willie Wonka and I had fun the other night. I added to your profits for the quarter. I did my job, all right? I did my job. Farmer Abel had to realize he's increasing his influence because what he learned from Juanita, what he learned from his wife Patience, he had to take to the entire farm. He had a foreman that worked for him. His foreman, when he saw him doing something different, the foreman thought he was out of job. What's Farmer Abel doing over there cleaning out Clarice's barn? That's my job. He decided to serve and go clean up the muck. Leaders clean up the muck. They go solve problems. The analogy that I love to use for leaders is a quilt. Anybody seen the back of the quilt before they put the nice covering on it? Loose ends, different lengths. We as leaders spend our time on the back side of the quilt solving problems. Don't forget to go out around the other side of the quilt and take in what you've generated. Take the time someday to sit in your property and watch people smile. Talk about the people you've helped, because those are the people you're influencing. For me, I do webinars, we get on Instagram, we do this. Now, I'm not a social media guy, but 2 years ago in our conference, I spoke for an hour like this, got down, I had all kinds of emails. I just joined Twitter earlier that year. I had tweets like crazy. People were tweeting in the room. You know how many people we reached that day? I had 250 people in the room. You know how many people we reached that day in tweets? 180,000 people received information about what was going on in this room. You want to help your employees? That device that they carry with the phone, over 70% of our employees have one, and they use it every day. You want to communicate with someone? Increase your influence by using technology in a way that I said, no, I'm not social media. Today I worry about Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. That's it. That's all my mind can handle. Don't tell me all this other stuff that's going on, okay? I will share with you, when I got on Twitter, I sent an email to my son, and the first tweet he did once he signed up, he says, the world is turned upside down. Father tweets before son. It was worth every second. I beat him to something. I loved it. Increase your influence. Then you have to live your transformation. You have to be who you want to be. Hospice nurses, they did a survey at hospice nurses, and they asked them, what's the thing that people in their last season of life talk about the most? By far, the number one was people wish they had lived the life that was inside of them and not the life that they felt others thought they should live. Can you be yourself? Can you be that leader that people know what you're going to do when times are tough? What you're going to do when times are right? Are you going to serve the person and not the ideology? Are you going to serve everyone the same way? There were times when I would see someone coming down the hallway and I would know if I asked them how they were doing, they would suck the life right out of me. Because I would hear everything that's wrong with the company, everything that's wrong with them, their house, their home, their car. They'd tell me everything that was wrong. There were times when I would duck into an office just to avoid that person. Today I say, hey, I'd love to talk to you, but I've got a meeting I've got to go to. I'll come back and see you a little bit later. Do you avoid people like that? Do you treat everybody the same way, not just the people you like or love? I'll leave you a challenge today. Start with those that love you the most, those that you love the most. We had a manager who went home and told his son, hey, I'm going down to the store. Do you need anything? The son said, what? He says, I'm going to the store. Do you want anything? Do you need anything? He says, what? What do you want, Dad? Dad says, I don't want anything. Do you need anything? He was taking what he learned in servant leadership class and bringing it home. It took him 2 months. I'll take you here, I'll take you there. His son finally realized he was serious. He was serious. My transformation came with my daughter, Jennifer. She was the demolition queen derby of cars. We wrecked more cars than I even want to admit. And I was the dad that went, what were you thinking? When are you going to pay attention? When are you going to pull, whatever you pull out of whatever? What are you doing different? You need to change. I discovered one day through my servant leadership transformation, what she needed to hear from me was this. Jennifer, there isn't anything that you can do that's going to change how much I love you. It doesn't matter what you do. I'm going to love you the same. Go to your room. Get some sleep. We'll deal with this in the morning. That's when my relationship with my daughter changed. I wish I had done that years earlier. I wish somebody had told me that relationship was more important than my work. Live your transformation with those that you love the most, that love you the most, because it will change your life and make you a different person. Lori says, her advice to people we talk to, you'll never see her in the front, she's in the back, doesn't travel with me very much. She says, if servant leadership can change you, it can change anybody. It can change anybody. Live your transformation. Serve the person. Serve them first with the right heart and the right motive, and watch how it will change your life. Now, let's go back and see what happened to Farmer Abel. In my company, Living Your Transformation is all about people. I love it when people smile. The gentleman with the glasses is the gentleman I just talked about, Jim Dowling. His life changed with his teenage sons when he lived servant leadership at home. Are your folks happy? I saw a lot of smiles around here yesterday and today. That is cool. celebrating 25 years of stories. That is cool. So let's see how Farmer Abel ended his story in the book. And for the pigs, well, they continued to do what they always do. They ate, laid around in the shade, and grew fat. As the attitudes of all things hoofed and horned, feathered and flesh brightened, it slowly dawned on each one of them that the pigs were in fact making the greatest contribution. For as they say, when it comes to a ham and egg breakfast, a chicken is involved, but a pig is committed. Or as Farmer Abel said one day as he sat on his porch and surveyed the bounty before him, because the farm changed. The pigs were never really running the farm at all. It was his own hoggish behavior. If you want to be serious about being a servant leader, start with yourself. Change who you are. Figure out the behaviors you want to live and be, and then live that transformation. You guys have a great time the next couple of days. You have a great company that wants to invest in you. And I will tell you, I want to hear the stories. I want to hear, this is going on my wall, because the stories are what change people. Thank you so much for letting me come and talk to you today. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.